Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody that's tuned in globally. Thanks very much for making time today for this USI Tech Hangout. I'm waiting for my partner in crime, Mr. Jonathan Smith in the UK. He's had a fairly hectic, let me pause that off, he's had a fairly hectic morning just getting people set up on the Forex side. We have a colossal amount of people coming into this business. I can tell you that within our group, we have around 250 people coming in a day. And as we've said from day one, we're going to support people, then that's exactly what we're doing. And John spent a lot of time this morning supporting people, and I can hear he's just turning up as we speak. Good day, Mr. Smith. How are you?
I'm very well, Lee. How are you? So I'm running a little bit late this evening. I've been on another call trying to sort some people's VPSs out for their FX trading and what have you. So, yeah, apologies.
No problem, mate. It's good to have you here. I'm just introducing what we're up to, etc. So, yes, busy times at the moment, as I've said. So fantastic place to be. I know there's a lot of people tuned in that are here for the first time this week. I've been speaking to a lot of new members that wanted to get onto the Hangout today. So what we're going to do is we've also been asked to try and do something in a fairly quick snapshot fashion. This will please Mr. Smith. So rather than us rambling on through a lengthy presentation, we're going to try and jump through some of the slides, keep it short and brief, get into Q&A, questions and answers pretty quickly. So I'm hoping tonight's going to be a little bit shorter for everybody. And obviously do remember that you're on this link. You can watch this back at any time if we've rattled through things too quickly. I'm going to try and save John's voice a little bit because he's been on the phone, I think, a lot this morning anyway. So I'm probably going to start off with the presentation, and John's going to cut in and stop me when I clearly haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. I'm joking. I do know what I'm talking about, I think. So let's get started. We'll get into the Bitcoin presentation. This is specifically for Bitcoin, and we're not talking about Forex here at all. This is purely about USI's or USI Tech's Bitcoin packages, and we're going to take you through both how they work, what the background is of the company, and most importantly, the compensation plan. Remember, you can build this business either completely passively, or, as we're going to show you, you can go on and share this with others, and the company are paying a very handsome compensation plan. And we're going to explain to you exactly how that works and how you can compound, the power of compounding interest, how you can compound your account. And you'll see some very, very specific figures as far as examples of how your account could look like if you're running it over a period, for example, of a year. Can you see the slides okay, John?
Yep, you're good to go, Lee.
Thanks, mate. So I'll skip through the agenda. We'll get straight in. And what I just want to touch on is what USI is. And basically, this refers to their vision and perfection coming together when great things can happen in a new dimension in direct marketing. Just note that direct marketing. The company have decided, rather than spending millions globally to market their product on TV and the likes of, they've taken the direct marketing route. Many companies do the same thing. And USI Tech have decided to do exactly that. And that is why there is a matrix. That is why there is a fantastic compensation plan and some great incentives, which we're going to look at. So who are they? Well, USI Tech are a technology company that has been specialized for many years in the development of automated trading software. They've been doing this a long time. So who's behind the scenes? Well, we've got João Felipe Fernandes Severino. He's been working with clients, as it says here, since 2007 with a strong track record. He has created over 100 EAs, and if you're not sure what they are expert advisors, software robots, if you wish, and he's done that over the last 20 years. Most of those have been for VIP clients and for the banking institutions, and up until very recently, you would have needed an awful lot of money, which we'll come on to get involved with this software. Ralph Gold, who we've got the pleasure of great support, as it says here, has managed and traded for numerous VIP clients over the past 3 years, producing consistent results and providing them a good return on investment. Ralph is a genius trader, fantastic, heads the programming team behind the scenes, and I can tell you we're in great hands with him at the helm. Horst Jitcher has a corporate background in commercial securities and was responsible for large operations administration teams, and I know has floated somewhere in the region of 4 or 5 companies, multi-million-dollar organizations. And I can tell you that none of these guys are here specifically and purely for the money. They may tell you differently, but they are very successful in their own right. They're here because they can. They're here because they want to change lives. And we're seeing that globally, certainly from the people that John and I are talking to day in, day out, all over the world that are getting involved with this Bitcoin trading. And the fourth person at the helm, Mike Kiefer, has brought really to the company the networking platform. He is the company ambassador. He flies all over the world to support everybody at live events and has a wealth of experience in building network marketing teams around the world. So that gives you a little bit of background. And what we're going to do is just take you through a brief disclaimer. Proof of payment, as it says here, is no guarantee you will earn the same, but it would be possible to earn this and more with an equal greater strategy and work ethic. Any earning figures shown that we're going to show you today are not a guarantee of income, and these figures are presented for illustration purposes only. So what is Bitcoin? Well, if you don't know what it is now, we're not going to spend too much time on it. Google it. It is the fastest growing probably currency. I'm not going to say cryptocurrency at the moment. The growth has been colossal. I think it's gone up over 350% year to date, over 60% this month alone. And even with a slight drop back from where it was, it is absolutely flying. It's what the world is talking about. It's all over the mainstream news, the radio. It goes back to 2008, was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. And you can see here many examples of it being used from day one. You've only got to look at really where it is now, just over $2,000 per Bitcoin, to see how it's moved massively from its conception back in 2008. Some familiar faces for you: Richard Branson, Bill Gates, etc. All of them, if you Google research with them and their thoughts on it, they're all involved in Bitcoin. They all believe it's a way forward. You'll now start to see many nations now starting to embrace Bitcoin, and most importantly, not just the Bitcoin currency, but the blockchain technology behind it. We're not going to dwell on that. We're going to leave you to research it, but it is going to become very much mainstream. I've just had one of my members sent me an article this morning, about literally 10 minutes ago, saying that one of the big financial organizations are now introducing Bitcoin and accepting it in their cafeteria for their employees. It is going to be the norm, and now is the time to get involved. So we've mentioned about the increase this last 12 months, and more specifically, this particular month, it's really going from strength to strength. The experts predicted, as we move on to the next slides, that Bitcoin was going to be up around $2,000 by the end of this year. We're not even in June yet, and it's already smashed through that figure. So where is it going to be by the end of this year? I've had a lot of people this week saying to me, am I missing the boat? Am I too late? Absolutely not. Very small percentage of people really understand Bitcoin and are trading it. I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess of what the numbers are, but I would think it's probably way less than 1% globally. It's now is the time to get involved, and we're going to show you how, because these sort of machines that you see, this is an ATM, are now springing up around the world in various locations in the same way that people are able to pull monies out of what we call a cash point in the UK or an ATM here in the States. You're going to see these widely available in major players, major retailers around the globe. So let's talk about the Bitcoin product. You've got an opportunity to participate in the profit of Bitcoin mining and trading. If you don't understand it, you don't need to. Don't sit there and be concerned that you don't understand what Bitcoin is about. Just get involved and learn as you go through. Now, what have USI Tech done for us? Well, they've allowed us really to, rather than getting in and having to buy a Bitcoin, which is, as I've mentioned, around $2,000 per Bitcoin, they've broken it down into smaller sections. You can buy Bitcoin packages, and each of them are equivalent to 50 euros, and you receive 1% approximately. Please stress the approximately. It varies every day, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, per working day. There is no trading at weekends. And it runs each package roughly for 140 days, and therefore you would generate a return on capital of 140%. So how are the packages traded? Well, they're traded in a variety of different methods, and that fluctuates and varies dependent on market conditions daily. But they include altcoin mining, partnership mining, arbitrage trading, and large movement trading, amongst others. So it just gives you an understanding of when you've bought a package for 50 euros, you don't really know what's being done with that package, but the company is trading that on your behalf. I used an analogy yesterday, which I will very briefly touch on. Imagine you go to Lloyd's Bank, Barclays Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, wherever you are in the world, and you go and put your money into a high interest earning account, and inverted commas high interest, because you're not going to get much in there, I can tell you. But what they'll do is they'll ask you to tie that money up for a certain period of time. What do you think happens to that money while it's sitting there? It doesn't just sit in the account. They leverage that money and go out and trade it in whatever form they wish to generate profits for themselves and to pay you back the interest that they've stated that they'll give you for tying it up for 3, 6, 9, 12 months or whatever. This is very similar. They're taking your package, the money that you've put into the package, some of it's going back to the matrix, some of it's back to the company, but they are generating an approximate return a day of capital of around 1%. So it's very, very similar to that analogy.
I think that's a really good analogy there, Lee, that you've come up with there, and it will help people understand it, because what we really like about the package is that they are diverse. It's not just in one area. Those packages are diverse over 3 or 4 or 5 different parts to it, and it's the diversification that keeps, if one side of the market's not doing particularly well, or it's a bit quiet on that particular day, they just move it around to the different areas to achieve that 1% or as near as damn it.
And I think that's great, John. What USI have told us, they've been very, very clear, very open, very honest in how the trading's done. And if one sector of the market, because market conditions change, is not so good to be trading on a Monday or a Thursday, then they focus on the other areas. All they've got to do is generate us around that approximate, give or take, 1% return of capital a day. And I think, John, they've generated up to about 15% per day on these packages, I believe. Is that right?
20%. They've actually hit. Horse was saying some days they've actually achieved 20%. Because they rely on the volatility. There's no good bit having a market that's like a mill pond. They like the volatility. The more volatility in the market, the better trading days they can have. So when Bitcoin was strangely going up and up and up and up and up, was it last week or week before? I can't remember now. I think it was last week. Opportunities to trade were fewer, but now it's been going down, up and down, up and down. That's when they can make more return for us.
Yeah, outstanding. I'm not going to dwell too much on this side for fear of getting lynched, but what I can tell you is that there's many things ahead of us, and USI Tech want to try and give us transparency, because at the moment globally there is no platform for which we're able to see our Bitcoin being traded. That's nothing to do with USI. There's just nothing in existence. Whereas with the Forex market or stocks and shares and so on, you have some screens you can look at to see the trading. You can't do that with Bitcoin. But there are things in motion at the moment to try and make that possible, and at the same time to give us an opportunity for us to determine how our Bitcoin portfolio is traded. We've already alluded to maybe 3 or 4 different ways that it can be traded, and there is talk that maybe at some point in the future we can specifically determine how our Bitcoin is traded. So let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the packages. So here's an example for you. Purchase 20 Bitcoin packages. They're 50 euros each. That's 1,000 euros. And your runtime, as we've already said, is 140 working days. Therefore, the return of capital after 140 working days on that initial 1,000 euros is 1,400 euros. And please note the point at the bottom. That is assuming that 2 things, that A, you've not withdrawn any money out from your account, you've allowed it to grow and compound. And secondly, that there's not been an increase in the Bitcoin value. Because of course, if Bitcoin goes up, so your package worth increases likewise. Now, These limits have been removed completely. These were limits that were put in place. So if you're thinking of coming in and you've got a substantial amount tucked away that you'd like to plow into Bitcoin, and I can tell you that we've got people coming in with one package. We've got people coming in with 100,000 euros of packages. So, and everything in between. So initially the company had some limits in place, but now there are not really any limits, I think, with the exception of getting up, I think, on how many you can purchase per month, John. I think is that right still now?
That's right. And I think it's worth noting that those limits were put in place because they wanted to make sure through pre-launch, through March, pre-launch in March, the product, that they could deliver on what they were saying. And they felt comfortable. I think towards the end of March, they just lifted those limits. So again, you've got a really strong board that, and you touch upon the guys that are behind it, that are very ethical businessmen who look to make sure that they can deliver on what they're saying. And they've even said if they can't deliver going in the future, then they will stop the BTC packages. That doesn't mean you lose your money. It just means that you won't be able to buy anymore. You know, they're very ethical businessmen, which is quite refreshing.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, I've had so many calls this week, one-on-one calls or three-on-one, etc., three-way calls that we're doing, where people have said, you know, how do we know that the company's good, etc. And really it comes down to what John was just referring to. John took the time and trouble with Grant flying to Germany on our behalf to sit with these guys and get an understanding of how their minds work and what their backgrounds are and whether, you know, financially they need this. And that can influence the decisions that any corporation or business makes. And clearly, we don't feel that that's the case at all. There is no monthly fee in here. And that's the biggest thing, the tell sign in any business, any networking or multi-level marketing business, that if there's a monthly fee being charged, then that can always be propping the business up. But here there's nothing. You just decide how many packages you want, you let the company trade them on your behalf, and away you go. So what do we get out of our packages? Well, there's a daily payment, a return of capital, providing you've got more than 10 euros in your wallet, you can withdraw it. As it says, you've got daily withdrawals. You can pull it out every single day. Not only your return of capital, but any commissions that you've got also for referring this to other people. You've got commissions and returns that can be used immediately by the click of one button to automatically set your back office to buy you more packages. So if you're like John and myself that have got targets in mind where we want to be at Christmas, for example, then all we're trying to do is take all of the funds coming into our account and buying 100% more packages every single time. So the aim really is to get to where we want to be and then make a decision on how much we want to pull out daily. And that obviously creates, as it says here at the bottom, a highly profitable compounding effect. So let's take a look at the numbers. John, do you want to run through these?
I can do, yeah. So this is the compound effect. As Lee's already said, the first part of it, 140% return on capital. Then you, and that's good enough just on its own, Lee, as a standalone product. But then when you look at the compound effect as well, it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So, you know, you've got 1,000 euros on this example. That buys you 20 packages. And you can see that gives you a return of capital of 10 euros per day. So after 5 days, you've got enough to buy another BTC package. So that takes you up to 21. If we click through to the next slide, you'll see after a year, 250 working days, you can see that, you know, you've got a total of 115 BTC packages through the compound effect. And you got a return on capital of 5,750. So that's 5.75 times your 1,000 euros. So that's how the compound effect works. Okay, do you want me to do this bit? Because
yeah,
this
by all means,
is my favourite bit of the whole presentation. All right, so like I said, you've already got the 1% over 140 days. You then got the compound. But then when you look at where Bitcoin is going and predictions on how much Bitcoin is going to be worth in the next 12, 24 months, that's when it gets very exciting. So this is an example. And in the back office of your dashboard, you've got this profit calculator where you can do some modeling for yourself or for your clients that are looking to get involved. This is an example of 50 packs. Over 250 working days, so that would have cost 1.56 Bitcoin at the time that this was done. So it's €2,500 roughly. And that will give you total packs from 50 to 282 packs after the year. It gives you a daily return of capital after a year of 0.08 and a total earnings of 6.8 Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes to say 3,000, that's 3 times 6.8, 18. That's about 20, just over €20,000 for 2,500 capital injection. So that's not bad, is it?
I hope people are getting this, because I think this is, as John said, it's his favorite bit to explain. But what you've got to understand here, for those of you tuning in for the first time, is you're paid out in Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin moves and moves, you know, we've already said that it could be at 2,000 by Christmas. We've shattered that. It's gone through there already. Where's it going to be by Christmas? Is it 3? Is it 4, 5? I don't know. But if it moves and your packages obviously are compounding and being paid out, then of course the value of that Bitcoin when it's paid out is significantly more. So you can start to understand the importance and the game, for want of a better phrase, that we're all trying to play, which is simply to acquire as many Bitcoin as we can. Do carry on, John.
Well, when that example was done, actually, can you flip back to that last?
Sure.
I've just done a quick calculation. When that example was done, Bitcoin was at 1,602 euros. It's about €2,000 now. So even in that short period of time, these screens were done probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. You're looking at, you know, even if there was no increase in Bitcoin from now on in for the rest of the year, that guy, it's 1,600 he's paid for that Bitcoin. That's what it's cost him when it was 1,600. It's now 2,000. So that's 12,000, just over 13, 14,000 he's made on a €2,500 capital injection. Yeah?
I don't think anyone's going to complain at that, Ollie.
No, not. Right, let's go to the next one. Let's have a look at this. 200 packs, 6.2 Bitcoin that would have cost. And after the year, he's now got 27.9. Again, Bitcoin at 2,000, that's 54,000. If it goes to 3,000, it's 3 times 27, basically. That's where we're getting those figures from. It gives you a daily return on capital of 1%, which is 0.35. Currently, that would give you a daily withdrawal of, see, I've been working in dollars, about $700, about $900, Lee, that would give you.
Yeah.
So again, not bad. And your packages have gone from 200 to 1,147. And then this one, there's a magical figure at 2,000, because what do you get at 2,000 packs?
I think you get a car, John.
You do get a car. You get a car. You get €800 towards a car of your choice. We'll perhaps touch on that a bit later. But that would cost you 62 Bitcoin at that time that this screenshot was done. And that gives you 280 Bitcoin. Again, if it goes to 3,000 in a year's time, that's 3 times 280. You're getting on for nearly $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Not bad in a year, is it?
No, and people, I think, can understand why we're trying to strive for these 2,000 packs. The company has set an incentive at that, which we'll touch on in a minute. But yeah, I mean, to get there, and there's a lot of people that are going to do it, because you just copy the steps of people that are in your team and just follow what they're doing.
And I think the other thing to note there, Lee, as well, is because, you know, the reason why we put a little bit of history up on Bitcoin, because you might be sitting at home thinking, well, yeah, it's not going to go to this figure, it's not going to go to that. It's not pie in the sky. I'm not one for flowering things up, yeah, but we've seen and we've been involved around Bitcoin long enough to know that Bitcoin will achieve 3,000-4,000, maybe even by the end of the year, it could hit 4,000, yeah. And it's not us saying it, you know, these are leading world analysts that are saying this. So it's achievable. Those figures aren't pie in the sky. They are achievable. And I know people that got involved in March, you know, it cost them €900. They've already doubled what they put in March without the 1% growth and the compound. So, yeah, incredible. So three parts of the business: the 1%, the compound, the Bitcoin increase, and then the compensation plan, Lee?
Yeah, so let's explain to you. If you want to do this passively, you can do so. You can put your money in, buy your packages, and let it tick over. But here is the big win for you. If you're looking and you're somebody that's sitting there at the moment tuning in thinking, how do I get my account to that 2,000 packs? How do I achieve the sort of returns then daily? Imagine what that's going to do for my life. This is the way that you do it. Quite simply, on the right-hand side, the company share with you a profit. It's a thank you payment. They give you back 10% on the first level. Anybody that you recommend. So if you recommended Robert to join and Robert comes in with €1,000, you receive instantly 100 euros in your back office to do with what you will. You can withdraw it or you can buy more packages and start to trigger that compound effect. In addition to that, the company are giving you level 2. So if Robert then recommends Paul comes in with €1,000, then you're going to receive 3% of what Paul has put in. And of course, Robert would get 10% because that's his direct person. Now, that's what you qualify for, irrespective. So everybody is entitled to that. 10% from anybody that you refer directly and 3% the next line down. But thereafter, you need to qualify and open up the remaining levels between 3 and 12 that you see on the screen. And this is huge because what it enables you to do is through the uni-level basis, and let's just recap because that may not mean a lot to anybody. You recommend Robert, Robert recommends Paul recommends Jane recommends Margaret recommends Simon. They're all linked and each of them are on a different level. And you, providing you're qualified to receive levels 3 down to 12, would receive the payments that you see on the right-hand side, the far right, the 3% down to level 8 and 1%, which is levels 9 to 12. Now, just think about that for a moment. And here's the kicker that you really need to understand. It is not just 10% of what Robert comes in with, i.e. €1,000. Yes, you get paid that, but you get paid 10% on every package that his account generates for life. So you've just seen the examples that John ran through, how accounts, when you start with 50 packs, start to compound over a course of a year and how many packs there were there live at the end of the year. You get paid 10% of whoever you've directly referred on their account for life. You imagine how that quickly adds up and how that enables you to then buy more and more packages. So I hope that's dropping into place for you because that really is the crux to having a very substantial account. So how do you qualify? Well, there are 3 ways down the left-hand side. You either purchase an agency license and then get 3 direct referrals, just 3, that have 12 Bitcoin packages. The better way is to buy the Forex license. The reason being I say that is that it's the same price as the agency license, but the Forex license is a lifetime license. It's €600. The agency license has to be renewed every single year. So you buy your Forex license. That's going to enable you to trade the Forex platform when you're ready, which we'll talk about on another day. And you find 3 direct referrals that also buy the license as well. Or the alternative is that you buy your Forex license for €600 and find 3 people that buy at least and maintain 12 packages, Bitcoin packages in their account. So the company couldn't be any more flexible. They give you 3 ways to do it. Once you've got that in place, your matrix is then opened up down the 12 levels that you see on the right-hand side. Anything I missed out there, John, that you wanted to add?
No, I don't think you've missed out anything. I mean, I don't know any other company that pays 2 levels without being qualified. I mean, obviously you get commission on your directs, but they actually introduced and enhanced that and added that second level to help people go out and get their license. So they're getting 3% from their directs without being qualified. So yeah, unbelievable. But this will explain it a bit more, Lee, as you go through the uni level.
Yeah. Well, the uni level, just the colors on here, just look on the left-hand side. There's me at the top in green. There's a spillover in blue. There's direct referrals in orange and what we call spill under in purple. So if you just look at how this is positioned, it's a 3x3 matrix, which simply means it's 12 levels deep and there are 3 multiplied by 3 on each level as you go down. So you start with Mike, Claire, and Pete are 3 people underneath me, and then my next level would have 9 people, as you see, and then the next would have 27, and so on multiples of 3 all the way down 12 levels. If you want to do the maths, it's about 266,000. So let's explain how it works. There's me at the top. I've referred Mike and Claire. They've come in. I'm entitled to 10% of everything that Mike and Claire buy initially, and that their account generates every time it buys another package. And in addition to that, if they buy a license, the Forex license, I'm entitled to 20% of that Forex license fee. In other words, 120 euros. Because they are my direct referrals. Pete, however, has been placed maybe by John above me. Pete's been put in and is a spillover and slots to the right. I have no idea who Pete is, but he's now filled my first level. Then we go down to the next level, and you see I've then gone on referred AJ. He's another direct referral of mine, of which I'm going to get 10% on for life. He happens to be on level 2 because it's the only place he can go, but he's still a direct referral of mine. So I get 10% of everything his account does. But Lee, Sue, Sam, and Tom are what we call spill under. Now, what that basically means is that they've been put in by somebody below me. So maybe Mike or Claire, etc., have put them into the system. And therefore, they're filling my matrix for me. But I'm now entitled, because they're directly linked, I'm entitled to 3% of everything from Lee, Sue, Sam, and Tom. But I'm not entitled to anything from Pete, because Pete was put in as a spillover that's not connected to me from somebody above me. John's put him in there. He's not connected to me, and therefore I have no entitlement on the Bitcoin side of the matrix to any remuneration from Pete at all. So hopefully that becomes fairly clear. You can start to understand the correlation. And if there's a direct link between, for example, myself, Claire, Pete, Sue, Lee that you see there, then I'm entitled to receive either 10 or 3% accordingly, going down to level 8 and 1% thereafter, 8 to 12. So it takes a little bit of understanding, but you can watch this back at any time. John?
I'll just add with Pete, the spillover is very, very important because after people have got their accounts where they perhaps want to be on the BTC side, a lot of people, and we do other hangouts when we talk about the FX, people will want to diversify into the FX. It's good to diversify. We talked about, and I touched on it, about the BTC package being diverse in itself, but you know, for you to diversify into the FX, we would recommend that you look at that. And with spillover, you might Lee wouldn't get any commission on the BTC side from Pete, but if Pete starts to do the FX side, he will receive spread commission on his FX. So they're very important, and of course you still get the license on it if it's underneath you as a spillover, so you still earn when he buys his license.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, one thing I can add to what John's just said is the spillover is colossal in here. You may have been involved in companies before where you've been talked about matrix filling and it never really happens because why? Well, quite simply, the company are charging a monthly figure. Some people join, they initially pay their monthly, and eventually they go by the wayside. It's attrition. People realize that they're not able to do it. They don't want to do it. They can't do it. They stop their monthly payment, and therefore people leave the matrix and it doesn't fill. What I can tell you here is nobody's going anywhere. Everybody is generating return of capital. Everybody's happy. Everybody's making money in the Forex side. On the other side, nobody pays a monthly fee. Why would anybody go anywhere? Doesn't make any sense. So your matrix is filling up rapidly. I'm already filling positions in level 8 to give you an idea of how quickly, and you're looking on screen going down 5 levels. So it gives you an idea of how rapidly it's filling, and it's filled by not just you and your team, but everybody above you. Everybody has to go somewhere in the matrix, and they fill the first available slot from left to right. So this is what the back office looks like. Gives you an idea. Here you can see the numbers of members, for example, in the top blue box. Underneath that, underneath Bitcoin packages, you've got active Bitcoin packages 42. That just gives you an indication of what this particular account has or holds. 42 packages there. 118, you can just see in the smaller writing in that bottom left blue box is the number of packages that my direct or this account's direct referrals have, and the group there had 125 in total. John mentioned earlier on about the rebuy calculator. You'll see right next to BTC Packages, right in between the two colored boxes, there's a rebuy calculator. That's in your back office. You want to click on that and do the modeling, as John mentioned, to just work out where you'd like to be in whatever time frame you want to get there, 6 months or a year, and just start to see how many packages you need to get up and running as quickly as possible to give you the lifestyle that you'd ideally like to achieve. So let's talk about the incentives. A lot going on at the moment. We've touched on this briefly, and I think it's probably better to add a little bit of meat to the bone. I don't want to waffle on too much. As I said, we're going to be short and brief, but the company have put two fantastic incentives in place. Once you've hit 2,000 Bitcoin packages and maintain that in your account and allow your account then to grow from there, the company will pay you 800 euros as a car bonus per month, anywhere in the world that you are. So I can tell you in the States, 800 euros will get us probably just about any car that you want, maybe bar 2 or 3. It's a hell of a payment to have. It could also be put towards your existing car payment if you wish to. I won't expand on that, but that's what they're going to give you every single month for achieving 2,000 Bitcoin package. And let me just qualify, you can't come in and just buy 2,000 Bitcoin packages, 100,000 euros. You have to create that, at least 50% of it from the rebuying and your account rebuying and growing accordingly. So you can't just come in and dump your 100 grand in and get your car. At 5,000 Bitcoin packages, the company will pay you double that, 1,600 euros. And I know a couple of people or one person specifically, and I won't mention any names, that's hit that this morning. So it's totally feasible. Just bear in mind that this has been running since when, John, as far as Bitcoin is concerned?
Well, these incentives, they were...
No, the actual packages were launched in...
March. The actual BTC packages. You're referring to that? Or?
I am. So, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but yes. But the point I'm trying to make is somebody has already hit 5,000 Bitcoin packages since March.
I saw that. I mean, the thing is with this, you know, many companies, they have these fantastic incentives and nobody ever reaches them. These are just a matter of time. It's not, you know, a case of you can't reach them. It's like, when are you going to reach them? You know, so, you know, you go at your own pace, but they are achievable targets, and having 800 euros towards a car is phenomenal. You know, you can pretty much, you know, look at the Range Rover over here. I don't know, like you say, Lee, over where you are, you can pretty much get what you want.
Yeah, there's a lot of car over here, and I know it will do, you know, globally. I was talking with somebody yesterday in South Africa. I mean, it would be a colossal amount of money to them. I'd probably buy 4 cars over there. It's yeah, and it's varied, but it's 800 euros, and that's paid to you wherever you are in the world. It's not prorated on the currency that that you actually have to purchase in. It's 800 euros is what you're going to get.
Brilliant.
Okay. Second incentive, moving on. There is a great opportunity for, and I know we're trying to pull a number of my team through to this, to fly into Mallorca for all expenses paid, bar your flights. You've got to fly there. And that's between, I believe, the 2nd and the 5th and the 8th. Is that right? I thought it was the 2nd and the 5th. Is it the 5th and the 8th, John?
I think it's the 5th and the 8th.
Is it? All right, good. All right, well, 5th and the 8th, that's even better. Okay. Well, that makes my life easier because I was having to juggle things around. So I'm definitely going to be there. And if you look about how you need to qualify, it's right on your dashboard in your back office. All you need to do is to get 100 Bitcoin packages between yourself and your direct referrals. So people that you recommend to come in, 100 packages, I believe, by the end of August, as it says on here. And then the second tier, once you've done that, is you need to have 1,500 packages from everybody in your downline. So if you recommended Robert recommends Peter recommends Jane, everybody below that going down the levels has to total up 1,500 packages. And therefore, it sounds a lot, but I can tell you in 3 to 4 weeks, I've seen posts all over the place this morning on Facebook where people have already smashed through the first one and are well on their way to achieving the second tier to be in Mallorca. And I think that's going to be one massive turnout. I don't think the company probably understands the number of people that are going to be flying into Mallorca. Mallorca isn't going to know what's hit them.
I know when we did the UK mini tour, we was joking about the boats not being big enough in that picture. So I think there's going to be a lot of people coming.
I think you're right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. So we've rattled through that very quickly. Please remember that you can drop back in and watch this at any time on the link that you've been given. I'm going to go over and just see, because I know Grant is away, whether we've got any questions over here that are going to need answering. So apologies for anybody that's been tuned in and have questions that they've asked.
He's in Greece at the moment, I think, Lee.
Is that where he is?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a couple of points. I don't think there's anything particular. Let me scroll down and scroll up, see what we've got. Let's have a look.
Just a little bit of news while you're looking at those questions, just to let the guys know that week after next, we've got in the UK, we've got some training events being booked week after next. There'll be 10 venues throughout the UK, and there'll be 5 going off every single week. So if you're in the UK or you've got people that are in the UK and you can't get to see them, or you can't get them on a Skype call. I know a lot of people are buying traffic. You know, once they're signed up to you, plug them into the events. They're going to be going off every single week. And, you know, you can't beat a bit of face-to-face. So we're going to be posting those events up. Please, please, please use them. Come along and see us, you know, and plug your people into those events as well.
And I think that's something we're picking up on. You know, John's had a major success, and credit to him and Grant for starting to do some of these events across the UK. We're starting to look at booking dates now here in California, and then in August we're talking about doing possibly 3 or 4 national events as well. So we're well on the road to putting plans and a team together to deliver that here. Just going back to questions, I mean, I'm going to scroll down them. There's one here from Amira that was asking, you know, about companies not being able to show where their income is from. I've already clarified that, Amira. You can't do that with Bitcoin. There isn't a platform to be able to give people total transparency. I did allude to on one of the slides, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because there's a lot of things in process in the background. But I think USI would love to be maybe the first person globally to be in a position to give us that transparency on the Bitcoin. It's completely transparent on the Forex side. You can see the trading live. So just ask yourself the question, Amira, that, you know, would a company ever jeopardize their core product by marrying it up with Bitcoin if one wasn't really as transparent as they claim it is to be? So I think the answer to that would certainly be no. You would never jeopardize your core product and your core business and keep it under the same banner. Let's just have a look here. Again, James is asking, I just have to ask, there are so many of these fly-by-night programs. Will USI be around 3 to 4, 5 years? I want to address that, James. If you actually watch some of the earlier Hangouts, and specifically I refer you back to go into YouTube and search USI Germany visit or something like that. John flew in and spent a lot of time with the corporate team there, and they've been completely transparent. And that is that they can't see anything past 2 years. And at the rate Bitcoin is growing, it may not even be as long as that. And John's already clarified that if it ever got to a point that USI could not generate the approximate 1% daily return of capital, they simply wouldn't allow anybody to buy any more packages. That doesn't mean that you lose the packages that you've got. It just means that they wouldn't take any more trading on. So you've got to be realistic. These guys are telling you and calling it. And if you know where Bitcoin's going to be in the next 4 months alone, let alone 2 years down the line, then you're certainly doing something better than the experts out there, because that's basically what we're saying. We've got to understand and predict where Bitcoin is going to be within a certain period of time to see whether or not the trading is justifiable. So, you know, what I would say is do some research, have a look at the Forex side if you want complete transparency, and talk to people, obviously, that are in the business.
I think the other thing I'd like to add to that, Lee, is the guys are also working on a third product as well. So they're not resting on their laurels. There's other things they're looking at all the time, whether it would fit into, if you like, the USI portfolio with the FX and the BTC packages and what have you. So, you know, they understand. And my business, when I first started my mortgage business, for example, was a completely different animal every few years because of regulation and changes with criteria and what have you. And if you don't move with the times, if you don't be versatile, then you're going to get left behind. But that's what I like about these guys. I've spent time with them. They're very on the front foot, looking at new opportunities, you know, whilst delivering. But if they get to that point where they feel that they can't deliver, as you just said, then they will just simply say, look, no more BTC packages, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think, you know, I think generally speaking, when you look, I'm going through some of the other questions here, trying to read at the same time. But, you know, there's questions on here and a comment with regards to, we're referring to 1% return of capital a day. Dane, you refer to the fact that it's 4 to 6% per month. If you're talking about pure profit, then yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. But all of the slides relate to what they pay back daily. And in order to compound, and the fact that your packages expire on or around 140 days in, the company pay you back in your account 1% approximately per working day. That's what you receive back, that you see transparently in the account, and that's why we refer to it in the way that we do.
Do you know what, Lee? I find it astonishing sometimes. You know, go and do what was it? Robot. Oh, I mustn't mention other programs. So there's a program out there that was doing, I don't know, 6% a day or whatever, or something crazy. You know, and people want to jump on that. It's not going to be here tomorrow, and it has gone. Yeah, you know, 6% a month is an incredible return. It's an incredible return. You know, I come from an IFA background, as you know. You wouldn't get that. You probably get 6% in a bond per year. You know, 6% a month is, you know, 140%. You do the maths, divided by 7. It is around about almost 6% per month. But you've got that. You've got the compound. You've got the increase in Bitcoin. It doesn't get much better than that unless you're going to get yourself attached to some sort of scam. Yeah. So, you know, be realistic. It's an astonishing return, plus with the compounding, plus with the Bitcoin, plus with the compensation plan. Be realistic, guys. This is a business that you can build for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So, you know, don't look at Mickey Mouse figures and wanting 6% a day, because it's just not going to happen.
And there's tons of those, you know. It's almost laughable, things that I get presented and looked at, and I'm not going to go into them because it makes me mad. And you just wonder why people jump on board. It's this huge, quick return, get rich quick. I'm going to make a fortune, non-sustainable. You know, you look at the Forex side in here, and you can watch those live accounts. Take as long as you like. 6 months, you can sit and watch them every single day. You tell me another piece of software that allows every account globally to be in profit, not a single account losing money. It doesn't exist. And that's down to the way and the de-risking, the correlation trading that has been written into the program to enable people to do that. But I'm not going to get on my bandwagon about Forex. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. But you have to make your own decisions, guys. You know, you either do your research, look at the company that is delivering on their core product, but they don't have your money. It's in segregated accounts. It's your account. Everybody's in profit all around the world without an exception. And then you get into Bitcoin because you see that they actually know what they're talking about. How on earth did they get the software right to deliver that on that side? And why on earth would they not have it right over here on the Bitcoin side? Sometimes it's just a little bit of common sense. So I'm just flicking through here. Monique asked, do you know if there's a place online where we can see a list of ATM machines, Bitcoin ATM machines in areas? Good question. I don't know. I'll have a look for you. Monique.
There is an app, Lee. Tack mentioned it the other day to me. I can't remember what it's called. I'll ask him, and we'll put it out there. But there's an app that you can actually see where Bitcoin machines are. Yes.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, I mean, John McGuinness, one of my team members, has asked on here, what would happen if Bitcoin crashed? Well, I think we've already clarified that as far as the position is concerned. I mean, we've already addressed the fact that certainly the company wouldn't allow anybody to buy any more packages. And what you've also got to balance with that, John, is that there is only one answer. If the dollar crashed or gold crashed and you owned a lot of gold, then nothing's going to be different to that. So if
it would be my advice.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, hold on to it. It'd be my advice and wait for it to come back up.
Correct. Yeah. So, if Bitcoin goes from $2,000 to zero, and we've got a lot of Bitcoin, we have a lot of zero. But you decide where you want to put your money at the moment.
Banking shares in 2007, 2008, they crashed. A lot of people bailed out, but I know friends of mine that kept their banking shares and they're very happy with them again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it pretty much in the main on questions. We've done enough and rambled on enough. What I'd like you to do, first of all, is that if you're here for the first time, please make sure that you're going back to the person that has invited you here to get their sign-up link. You have to be invited to join USI Tech, and make sure that they get you started in the right way. There are a lot of fantastic tools that both John, Grant, myself have put together, and I can tell you that if you are looking for a great home, we'd love to have you on board in our group. We give a lot of those away completely free of charge to our team members. Spend hours and hours supporting you, and I hear daily from people frustrated and wish that they could be part of our team because the people that they joined are not supporting them. Personally, if you want me back on that bandwagon, I think that's horrendous. I wouldn't have got involved in this company and offered to assist other people if I wasn't prepared to give up my time to help them. I know John is of the same mindset as is Grant. But it is what it is. That's the nature of the game, unfortunately. Some people just want to recruit and do nothing to help anybody else run through. So if you're looking for a good home, I can promise you you'll find it here. We're not trying to poach you from anybody, just simply want to say that if you're looking at it for the first time, then by all means get in touch. But most importantly, go back to the person that invited you here to watch the presentation today in the first place. John, any parting words that you want to add? I think I've probably said all I need to say.
No, I think you have. You covered everything. I thought it was great, going through it, fairly quickly and getting around to the answers and nitty gritty of it. That was great. It's free to sign up. That's the only thing I would say, there can be benefits for getting in early. Get your space. Go back to the person who invited you. If you haven't got anybody, then do drop us a line. We'll send you the link over. But get your space sorted now because it is free to sign up. And just watch it if you're not too sure. Come on a few more hangouts. Invite some friends and family. These are here to help you recruit. Every single Wednesday we do these. So utilize them and get people plugged in. That's all I would say.
Last question. Somebody said, when are we doing the next hangout? It's every week. We do the hangout same time every week, 12 noon UK time. That's what I'm talking about. 12 noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK, 9 in Europe, every week without fail, unless you hear otherwise. I will be posting the next week's hangout link immediately after this in our Facebook groups. That will then be spread through all of the Facebook groups. So watch out for those. So it gives you a whole week. And let me just reinforce why we do it. It's an opportunity for you to invite everybody that you know to tune in on this link to a live broadcast, watch us do the work, and ask whatever questions they wish to. It couldn't really be any easier for you than that. You don't even have to talk to people. Just get them here every week. And then if they've got any questions, they're welcome to ask. Okay, until next week, keep well, go to work, make sure you ask for the tools, make sure you ask for assistance, get your sponsors involved in three-way calls. If you're not sure about what you're talking about at the moment, which is totally understandable if you've just come in, then I'm sure they do, and it's their responsibility. You're paying them 10%, remember. 10% of your account for life, make them work for it. Parting thoughts. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.